Hello YouTube, welcome to a State of the Games report for Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen January 2015. This is going to be a relatively short video because there's not a lot to cover. First up, Elite Dangerous. It's been out released about a month now, a little over a month actually, and a couple of the criticisms leveled at it is it was a very hollow and empty universe very early on in the first couple of weeks of launch, and that was some fair criticism, but with the 1.04 patch, it really improved multiplayer matchmaking. Right now, if you see all those hollow squares on my radar, those are all players, PvP players in open play. Now, we happen to be at a particular booming trade hub with this very easy Seeking Luxuries run in the Devane system, or don't know how exactly to pronounce it. So if you're in a boom area, or you're doing a beaten path run, let's say based around rare commodities trading or something like that, or just a hub system like Sol or Arachnar if you're Imperial, or Lave if you're Alliance, you'll tend to run into a lot more commanders. This makes flying and fighting a little bit more interesting and dangerous, as the moniker would go, including the first organized player group or guild versus guild combat that the game has reportedly seen between Test Mostly Harmless and Victory over IP in the LTT 7488 system, I believe. So you're starting to see more of the player base get involved, and Frontier has not been deaf to community complaints and criticisms. The other complaint, as one YouTuber popularly said, it's a mile wide and an inch deep. As far as I'm concerned now, the only question is how fast is the water moving through that river? Is it a slow trickle, or is it going to be a massive torrent? If it's going to be a massive torrent, you'll quickly find that water can cut a path pretty deep pretty quick. And it looks like Frontier Developments is heading in that direction with the announcement of patches to be released subsequently in February and March, seeking to improve the player universe and the impact players have on the universe and multiplayer capabilities in February, and then building upon that with full wing features coming in March, which will allow you and your friends to group up together and share bounties, share probably fines, as well as hopefully trade and do other things together. So if you have ships that want to do combat, other people that want to be intergalactic space truckers, they can team up together to escort that convoy, as well as do community-based missions and things like that together. So we should see improvements to both of those systems forthcoming. Next up is Star Citizen. Star Citizen really hasn't seen any major updates either in the past month, other than as I'm recording this right now, I'm reading on Reddit that there is the release of the player test universe. So I guess it's a beta test environment for the pre-alpha universe. Are we still pre-alpha? Is this pre-alpha, alpha? Help me out, Star Citizen fanboys. What stage of development is the game in? I would technically call it at this stage a version 1.0 of Arena Commander, at least alpha. Technically, I would personally call it beta. Anytime that you release a product publicly available for mass download, as Arena Commander version 1.0 is, I would call it at least a beta test stage. But that's a debate for another time. Largely Greek letters in software testing this day means bupkis. But they did offer a free trial weekend for the Mustangs of all of the various variants, where there was the Omega packaged with various AMD cards, or the Delta, which is the limited edition that I'm flying here. One thing I did notice with flying the Delta, though, in Vandal Swarm and multiplayer and things like that, the sensors didn't appear to be working. Now, I'm not the only person who's had this issue with the ship, and personally, I didn't look into it enough to tell whether this was a feature or a bug, but it would seem strange to me that you would make a combat variant of a ship and then not put sensors on it, so I'm going to assume probably a bug. Now, in the player test universe, which seems to operate very similar to Star Trek Online's Holodeck versus Tribble, where you copy over your character account to the test environment and then do your testing over there, so it doesn't have any direct impact on your primary game role character, is all good and well, and apparently they are testing a 1.01 patch over there, which should fix many of the issues people were having with the amount of missile spam and the fact that countermeasures really weren't all that effective against missiles, and missiles pretty much ignored shields. So hopefully in the next few days or weeks that they'll be releasing at least the 1.01 patch to fix all of that for the rest of us. I hope there's also continued lobby improvements, as the last time I tried to do multiplayer, once again, we were in a private match that somehow got turned into a public match, and couldn't find any public matches. So hopefully all of that's going to be addressed in the 1.01 patch. And they have said that we should be able to earn arena credits to buy weapons and things of that nature, maybe even other ships, for this testing period with Arena Commander version 1.1. We just really have no idea on version 1.0, well, or 1.1 will actually drop. So that's basically Star Citizen for this month. Not a whole lot of changes over last month. You know, just a player test universe for a beta test for the pre-alpha test or something like that. Well, that's pretty much all for this week, or I should say this month. And thank you very much. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.